All right, welcome in everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us for today's self-directed IRA Saturday. We are actually honored to have Dustin Heiner on here today, talk a little bit about um, passive real estate investing, rental properties, all that kind of stuff. He's quite experienced in the field, actually. Dustin is the founder of Master Passive Income. He also has his own conference known as Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, or Rubicon. He is successfully unemployed. About when he was 37 years old, he got to a point where he was making enough income, passive income, from his rental properties that he was able to quit his job, and now empowers other individuals, whether they're maybe just starting off in the real estate industry or a little bit more experienced, and coaching them, teaching them how to do something very similar. So without further ado, we will go ahead and bring Dustin up and let him begin his presentation. Dustin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, Colin, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I really have been blessed to, honestly, investing in real estate's been fantastic for me. Like you said, I quit my job when I was 37 years old, and I didn't have the benefit of having something like Quest Trust. I literally had to cash out my entire 401k because back in 2006, when I was investing, there wasn't anything as awesome as, being able to invest with your 401k easily like Quest Trust is. So I'm really excited to be able to share how I was able to quit my job, how I invest in real estate so I make money without working. But then at the same time, being able to partner with you guys at Quest Trust. You guys were sponsors at my conference, which was terrific. I had so many people wanting to work with you. And so I'm really excited that hopefully we get to help a lot of people invest in real estate, number one. And number two, utilize their 401k rather than cashing it all like I did. So I appreciate having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't actually get to make it out to Rubicon personally, but hopefully it's something that I can do in the future. So and we'll kind of tie everything back together with, how Quest's involved in all of this too, for those of you that are not familiar with us. But yeah, I'll kind of let you just jump right into it. And guys, please type your questions in the comment box throughout the presentation, and we'll have some time for Q&A with Dustin at the end.
Terrific. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being on with me. I personally quit my job when I was 37 years old. I started investing when I was in 2006, or was it 2006, before the crash of 2008. So I went all through that. But the greatest thing was I made money if the market went up, down, or sideways, because I invest in cash flow or passive income or making money every single month from my properties. Didn't worry about appreciation or think about appreciation. Appreciation is great where the value goes up, but I can't feed my family on appreciation. And my goal was to become financially independent and not work for somebody else, but quit my job. And so I needed money every single month in order to feed my family. Appreciation, you can't feed your family with that, but you can feed your family with cash flow. And that's what I started investing in. So what I want to do is walk you through how to create a six-figure automatic business. Now, when I say six-figure, yes, absolutely six-figure, and it's passive. Like, I literally don't work. A lot of people have heard of the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. The premise of this book is to work 4 hours a week at most, like try to gear your life around that, which isn't bad. But honestly, I think working 4 hours a week is for suckers. I don't want to work 4 hours a week. I don't even want to work 4 hours a month. I maybe work 30 minutes a month on all my properties because I have other people doing the work for me. And that is what makes it an automatic business. So let me get into walking you through. Now, this is going to literally be all content showing you how I did it myself, done this many, many times. In fact, I invest all over the country. Many different cities I invest in. Each time I do this process over and over again. And all my students, I have hundreds, if not thousands of students now, coaching them how to do it. We do this process over and over again. It's really simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. So let's get into it. So this is how I built a six-figure automatic business in my spare time with a full-time job, and how you can too. And I even have 4 kids as well, a wife and 4 kids. And so even with having a full-time job, having a family, starting other businesses, I still did this. So yeah, my name is Dustin Heiner. I'm the founder of Master Passive Income and the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. The conference is literally all about helping other people. There's no like booth at the back saying, run to the back and go give us money. It's literally just me bringing my audience and all of my other speakers. We're bringing all of our audiences to get together to help each other out. I also have my podcast, the Master Passive Income Podcast, literally talking all about real estate investing, usually a solo show, just me, just giving out all this content. I was blessed when I was 37 years old to quit my job. And I want to share this out now because it's so much fun to be able to share with people. Okay, so let's jump right into it because I want to give you so much content that you're going to actually hopefully be able to take actionable steps in this. Now, let me quickly walk you through the 6 ways that you make money when you buy just one rental property, let alone, like, I literally have 30 plus properties now because I just bought property after property after property, each one making me a minimum of $250 a month in passive income. So we'll get into all that. So the 6 ways that you make money when you buy just one rental property. Number 1 is cash flow. And so cash flow is basically you buy the property. When you own a property, you're renting it out to a tenant, you have expenses. Well, we account for all those expenses before we buy the property. And then we make sure we can rent it for, my suggestion is $250 a month at minimum in passive income. That's all your expenses added up, and you hopefully rent it for more by $250 at minimum. When I first started investing in 2006, I'd buy a house, shoot for $250 a month in passive income. Now, however many years later, now it's 2023 Now I have properties making me $500, $600, $700, $800 a month in passive income because rents go up over time, but my expenses stay fairly same. So cash flow monthly, money going in your pocket. Next one is equity capture. So when you buy the property, what you're going to do is buy it for less than it's worth. I'm an investor. I don't pay full price for properties. I don't, if somebody wants to sell it for $200,000, well, you can go ahead and get it, that full price from homeowners. They're going to want to buy those properties at that full price. I don't. I try to buy it for, let's say, $150,000, $160,000, maybe $170,000 and capture, let's say, $30,000 in equity right when I buy the property. Another one is forced appreciation. Appreciation over time. The value goes up. Well, the value goes up is when I fix up the property. Hopefully I buy a property, it needs work. Then I fix it up, put money into the property. Let's say I put $10,000 into the property, painting and carpet and all that good stuff. Well, then hopefully the value of the home goes up by, let's say, 20 or 30,000, which is very, very easy to do to raise the value up when you fix it up. Another one is market appreciation, just over time. And we know values of homes just seem to always go up. So over time, the value is going to go up as well. Another one, and I love this one, is mortgage buy down. Mortgage buy down is when you buy a house and then you get a mortgage on that property. And with that mortgage, you don't pay that mortgage. Like, you don't have to get a job to pay that mortgage. Your tenants pay that mortgage because they're paying the rent. We account for that expense before we buy the property, the mortgage expense. And then we pay that mortgage from our rents that come in. And then hopefully, if you do it right, you're going to make a minimum of $250 a month in passive income from every property on top of the mortgage, on top of the taxes. And this is kind of funny. So I don't pay my taxes on any of my properties. I don't pay my mortgage. I don't pay for my property manager. I don't pay my insurance. I don't pay any of that stuff. My tenants pay for all of that. And it so happens the money goes into me and I pay out all the bills, but I account for those expenses and make money every single month. Last way, fantastic, is tax advantages. So many tax advantages when you buy just one rental property. If you've never had depreciation on your taxes, oh my goodness, it's absolutely amazing. Where the IRS, it seems like you're making less to the IRS. It's obviously very legal to do this. Depreciation, it makes it look like you're making less when you're actually making more because the value of the home is deducted over many years. So 6 ways. We can get into more than that, but deeper, but I want to move on to show you literally how to do this. I want to just help you to understand when you buy one property, you can make money in 6 different ways. Okay, let's quickly go through them. Cash flow, equity capture, forced appreciation, market appreciation, mortgage buy down, and tax advantages. Now, remember with that mortgage buy down, I want to make sure you completely understand this. If you buy a house, so let's say for $200,000 and you put 3.5% down, it's a FHA loan, 3.5% down. What is that? That's $7,000. Am I doing math right? Yeah, about $7,000 that you're putting down of your own money to buy the house for 3.5% with an FHA loan. Well, the balance of that principal, your tenants are paying that. And the interest, your tenants are paying that as well. So you paid $7,000 for a property, $200,000 property. Well, that $193,000 that's left over and the interest is paid for by your tenants. It's brilliant. Okay, so here's the path to six figures in real estate investing business. So sorry for the not capitalizing and everything. The font kind of messed up. It was supposed to look different, but I think you'll get the gist of it. All right, now here's the path. So one property making you a minimum of $250 a month in passive income, 250 times 12, is $3,000 a year in passive income. That's without you working. Because remember, we build a business, we have other people do the work for us. And in them doing the work for us, we don't work at all. That's what makes it automatic. But this is passive. Hopefully we work one time and have other people do the work, experts do the work for us. One property, $3,000 a year. Now, if we had 10 properties making us a minimum of $250 a month in passive income, that's $2,500 a month in passive income, $30,000 a year in passive income. 20 properties is $5,000 a month in passive income, $60,000 a year. 40 properties is $10,000 a month and $120,000 a year in passive income. That's how you can get to six figures. Now, my wife, when I was wanting to quit my job, become financially independent, I asked my wife and I said, hey, honey, how much money do we have in expenses every single year? And she said, or every month. And I remember the numbers plain as day. She said, $4,200. I said, okay, $4,200, taxes, insurance, food bills, mortgage, all that sort of stuff. We had 4 kids and everything. Okay, $4,200, check. If I were to then buy, let me go back one slide. If I get to 20 properties, well, I easily have $5,000 a month in passive income. Remember, this is the minimum. I have some properties now making me almost $1,000 a month in passive income. It's absolutely amazing as you continue to grow your business. Now, you might be thinking, well, Dustin, with 40 properties, you're working a lot. Like, actually, no. What I do is I build a business, and that business has experts do the work for me. They are glad to do the work because they make money. They don't want to be an investor like I am, which is great for me. I have them work for me. Okay, now I'm going to quickly give you the wrong way to do this, and then I'm going to give you the right way. So I followed the guru. Go back one. So I followed the guru. So in 2006, I didn't know anything about real estate investing. I had a sit-down desk job doing IT for a local county government in California. And I was just doing technology. And I was like, you know what? I was watching TV late at night, and one of those late night infomercials came on. It said, hey, we're coming to your town. We're real estate gurus. We're going to teach you everything, a free 2-hour seminar. I was like, well, great. I'm going to do that. So I ran to that seminar. I was so excited. And it was all hype, all sales pitch for a 2-day seminar that they wanted to put on. And they said, it's normally $1 billion, but it's $1,000 a day, run to the back. And I was like, oh yeah, run to the back. And I bought in this 2-day seminar. Well, this 2-day seminar, a lot of you might've seen this. It was all hype and more sales pitch for another, like an $80,000 course, $100,000 course. It was so horrible because it was all sales pitch. And so I took what little in that 2 days that they gave me, I took what little they taught me, and I followed the wrong way. But then I figured out the right way, which is building the business. Quickly, the wrong way is they say, find a property anywhere in the country. Once you find that property, then you run the numbers. This is what the gurus tell you. I'll tell you, and then I want you to forget it because I'll give you the right way to do it. They say, find a property anywhere in the country. Run the numbers, make sure you're going to make $25 or $50 a month in passive income. Well, and they also, remember, this is 2006. They said, you're going to get appreciation, and that's what's going to make you rich. I was like, great, but I can't eat appreciation. My family can't eat appreciation. So in following what they're telling me, they say now with making $50 a month in passive income, get appreciation. Then they say spend thousands of dollars to buy the property, then spend thousands of dollars to fix up the property, and then find a tenant, and then find a property manager. Well, in my opinion, that's just about backwards. We start with building a business. I did exactly what these gurus told me to do. And my property manager started stealing from me within 6 months because I literally did everything wrong. I just grabbed the first person and said, oh, you got a pulse, and say you're a property manager, come manage my property. What happened was I didn't build the business. I didn't find the right people. I didn't do everything right. And so what the gurus will tell you is you buy one property, and that property is your business. I'm going to say, no. The right way is we build the business. Our property is not a business. My business owns inventory. That is what my business owns. I don't look at my property as a business, but my business owns the properties. That's how I built my business. Okay, here's the investor roadmap. I just kind of made a little acronym just for fun, so you guys can hopefully understand the general process of real estate. So first one is recognize the target rental market. Target rental market wherever you want to invest. See, I live in Arizona, but I invest in Ohio, Texas, and Missouri, and one other state. I can't remember. We have a hotel. Anyways, I invest in 4 different states, and I know the market because I hire experts who tell me how to invest in that market. So it's really not as hard as you might think. Now, the next step is establish an automatic business. Now, a lot of my students, my real estate investing students, they might find a target market. They might find a great city that everything looks good. And they're like, hey, Dustin, I found a great city, great properties. And they say, I found 5 realtors and they're already sending me deals. I'm like, whoa, stop. If you bought a property, who's going to manage that property? Who's going to make sure that you're going to be making money every single month? And they said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, you need to have that first. We need to have the automatic business first before we buy any inventory. We need to make sure that the business is going to run after we buy the property, and we're going to make money, and we're not going to lose sleep at night because our tenants are destroying our properties. So what we do, find target rental market, then create an automatic business, get everybody, experts in your team, in your business working for you. Next one is you approve others to help you succeed. And this is done by interviewing many times. Now, let me give you a quick example. If you're going to start a business, let's say a convenience store, convenience store, candy bars and soda machines and all the good stuff. Well, you would not sign a lease on a location, open the doors, and then set a box of candy bars in there on the ground. Well, you wouldn't do that. You go out of business in like 2 seconds. What you would do though, is you would build the business first. You get the shelving units, all the candy bars go on, the countertops, the cold storage, bank accounts, cash registers, insurance, employees, everything in the business before you bought any inventory. Once you build the business, then you buy the inventory, put it in your business, and have it run itself. And if you were to say, you know what, I don't want to run this business myself. I want to, this convenience store, I want to hire a manager to manage the property or manage the business. Well, you would not see somebody walking across the street. Hey, you got a pulse? Come on in here and manage my business, manage my money, manage my inventory, manage my employees, manage my customers. You wouldn't do that. You would interview many, many people, many, many times. That's what I'm talking about. We approve others. We hire them. We interview them, make sure that they're the right people in our business. The last one is L. And trust me, I'm going to go through all this stuff so you have a lot more in your brain on exactly how to do this. Last one is lease your property for $250 passive income at the minimum. Now, my suggestion at the minimum, some people go less, but I've found when you go less, you can run into problems. Let's say you're only making $100 a month in passive income. Well, $100 a month times 12 months is $1,200. $1,200 isn't bad. Don't get me wrong. It's actually good. But what if there is a problem where, let's say, the furnace goes out and it's a little more expensive than what you saved that time while you're, saving for repairs and stuff like that, which you need. That's part of your expenses, saving for repairs. Let's say it's a little more than you've saved. Well, then you dip into your passive income. Well, how does your family eat? Like I'm a real estate investor. I don't have a job. I literally invest in real estate. That's how I make my money. With that, if the money goes away to pay for something else, then I don't have money to feed my family. So $250 a month in passive income minimum. All right. The easiest part is buying the property. Like I said, my students, they find realtors right away because they get all excited and start looking at properties. Honestly, as an investor, finding the properties is the easy part. It's actually very, very simple. In fact, I don't even look for properties. I have other people find me properties. Just like I said, we find experts in the area to find us properties. And they're also going to make sure we're going to do this business right by making sure we know how much our expenses are. We know how much our rent is going to be. We know what type of clientele we're going to buy or have in our business with the properties that we buy. So the easiest part is buying the property, but the hard part is building the business first. Just like I said, if you're going to start the convenience store, you're not going to just put a box of candy bars in there. No, you're going to build the business first. In fact, most of my students take the longest time in this part because finding the right people is rather difficult because there's a lot of people that say they're good, but actually proving out that they're good, you need to interview them. You need to see if they're actually good enough for your business. Now, one great thing about having so many students now, so many of my students have already built their businesses. We've got hundreds, almost thousands of students now that I've actually got their cities that they invest in. They give me the cities, the property managers they use, the mortgage brokers, the realtors. Like we have a list of all these different places and things because they've already done the hard work in building the business and they're sharing it with future students. But the hardest part is building the business. But once you get over that hurdle, remember, we're trying to do passive income where we work one time and then have our business work for us. So we don't work anymore, but the money comes in passively. So we build the business first. That's the hardest part. Once it's built though, and you have 1, 2, 3, 10 properties, it's so easy to find another property and put it into your business because you have other people doing all that for you. Now, let me give you the 6 secrets of real estate investing. I'll jump right back. So the 6 secrets of real estate investing that really, honestly, it's not, when I tell you these, you're gonna be like, oh, that makes sense. But what is really interesting, what reason why I say it's a secret is because only investors who are investors know these things. Like me telling you to build a business first, most gurus won't even tell you that. Honestly, you go listen to most people because they might be investors, but I literally had to figure this out, how to build a business, because my property manager, like I said, my very first one started stealing from me within 6 months. It was horrible. Now, I realized now if I would have hung my head and said, oh, it just doesn't work, I'm not going to do this ever again, I wouldn't be here today not working a job. I quit my job when I was 37 years old, blessed to have that. With that, I realized that if I built a business that runs itself, I won't have to work and I'll make money. So these are secrets because the gurus who don't necessarily invest or didn't do this themselves, they read a book and are trying to teach you, they're not going to know this. Okay. So the first one, secret, I've already talked a lot about this. We build the business first. We make sure that everything is done in the business before we buy any properties. In fact, I have a lot of people that I coach, but also I've also bought properties from a lot of people. Now, here's what's interesting. Somebody, like I talked to a seller and they say, oh man, I bought this property as an investment property. I followed all those gurus. And it turns out that I tried to call property managers, see if they would manage the property. I said, hey, property manager, here's my house, number 1 Happy Street. Would you manage the property for me? And they say, no, I won't manage a property because I'll get shot there. Well, you no longer have an asset anymore. You have a liability. How much better would it be? Save you time, money, energy, hair on your head because you're going to be pulling out if you're not doing it right. If you say, instead of I bought this property and would you manage it? How about property manager? I've already talked to you. You know me. You're my expert. I'm looking to buy this property. How much will it rent for? What type of clientele would I have? How much is the vacancy factor? Like how long, how many times will be vacant out of the year? All these questions. And then if they tell you, I won't manage it, well, then you do not buy the property and you don't waste your money and time. But if they say, it's a good property, good area, I will manage it, here's how much we can rent it for, then you have expert information. So first one, build the business. Don't go right to realtors sending you deals. You want to find the right property manager and build out like mortgage brokers, inspectors, plumbers, roofers, insurance agents. We do everything else before we buy property. Now, building a business is finding a city that has good inventory. Remember the first part? We're building a business. We need inventory. Our properties are our inventory. Find a city that has good inventory, the type of homes we want to buy that rent us for, make a passive income of $250 a month in passive income. And it's also properties that people want to rent or buy, cookie cutter type homes. I love these. Now, I actually like Zillow. Zillow is really good. My suggestion, I love 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 to 1,500 square foot homes. I think there might be a slide where I actually walk through that so you can write down. But the type of homes I look for are going to be able to make me money in passive income. But then let's say I look on Zillow and I say, is there any inventory in the city? Now you're looking at the screen right now. You see the red dots. Red dots are properties that you can potentially buy. I can't remember which city this was, or sorry, state. I think it's a Brownville or something like that. I can't remember which city. Yeah, state. But anyways, so here's one state. I just pulled it up. Now, as I am looking, is there a lot of inventory in this city? Because if you're going to build a business, go through all that work, let's say you're going to build that convenience store, go through all the work and build a business, but you can't get any candy bars, you can't get any sodas, you can't get any chips, well, you're going to be losing money. So we don't want to build a business where there's low inventory. Now, how about this city? Which one is this? Oh, Memphis. Okay, Tennessee. So this is in Tennessee. So I think, yeah, there we go. Now we get into Tennessee. So this one is northeast of Memphis, and there's Memphis, so a little southeast. Look at the inventory there. My goodness, these are the types of homes I want to buy under 150,000. I just did this like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Under $150,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This is maybe 1+ bath, but lots and lots of inventory, which is the type of homes I want to buy. If I'm going to take the time to build the business, I want to make sure I can buy many properties. So we look for a city that has, in fact, a lot of my students invest in Memphis is great. So building the business, as we zoom in, you can see all the different properties. Now, I will pause this and say, I'm not an expert even in the areas that I currently invest. In fact, my students say, well, Dustin, you're the expert in this city because you invest there. I'm like, whoa, no, I'm not. I hire experts. They tell me, and so I have a little bit of knowledge, but I always ask them. They're the ones that I ask. So in the city, I'm not sure if this area is great or not. Your property managers, after you build the business, will tell you, yeah, the Northeast is not that great. In fact, the Southwest is much better. They're going to tell you all that great stuff. Now, oh yeah, here it is. Cookie cutter type home. This is the best type of property you want to either buy where you can rent it out or sell it in the future. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. Not too small where families don't want to live there. Not too large where there's extra walls to paint, toilets to change out, electrical sockets, and all that sort of stuff. But these are really good properties that make you good money and cash flow. So secret number 2, we hire experts in your city, whichever city. Let's say it's Memphis. If that's it, then we hire the experts in the city. A big tip I'm going to give you. This literally came after many years of doing business and having many businesses. You want to hire slow and fire fast. Hire slow means you are going to interview many different property managers, and your property manager is your quarterback. They're the ones that are going to make sure you're making money, saving money, protecting your properties, all that sort of stuff. Interview many property managers many different times. And with all my students, I walk you through like the questions to ask. In fact, I think we have a list of like 25 questions and answers that you should get from the property managers so that you are as well knowledgeable about that person. So you hire them slowly, but then fire them fast. If they're screwing up, I personally like to give them a second chance. Maybe they just need to learn. There's a problem. But I don't give them third chances. Once they're like, I need to feed my family. If they keep messing up my business, making me lose money, I get rid of them fast, find somebody else. And I even teach my students how to make sure you have a backup property manager, backup contract, backup everything. Like we build the business, so we're always going to be taken care of. Now, hire the right people. Now, these are kind of in order. Actually, no, I'm looking at it now. It's definitely in order. So property managers, number 1. Remember, realtors are not number 1. Property managers, then mortgage brokers, insurance agents, property inspectors, contractors, handymen, tradesmen, electricians, plumbers, roofers, wholesalers. Wholesalers are like realtors. They're not part of a brokerage. They find a seller and find a buyer and put them together. Realtors, we know them, title companies, and many more. In fact, I teach my students how to build this entire business so these people, these experts, do all the work for you. Now, secret number 3. Utilize the experts to make sure you're doing everything right. Remember what I said, you don't want to call a property manager and say, property manager, I bought this house, number 1 Happy Street. Would you rent that property or manage that property for me? And they say, no, I'll get shot there. Not having an asset anymore, you have a liability because you can't manage it unless you do it yourself, which I don't want to do. I want to have other people to do it. Instead, you say, I'm looking to buy this property. Tell me about it. How much, like, what's the area like? What's the rents like? What's my clientele like? All that great stuff. Now, your property manager is the quarterback of your team. They make sure you're making money, saving money, protecting your business. Now, I already talked about this. So this is just, if I bought a house, will you manage it? They say no. You want, instead, have these people and say, I'm looking to buy this property. Tell me about it. Secret number 4. Businesses, I didn't spell that right. Businesses are in the business to make money every single month. You do not start a business to lose money. Now, if you're going to have a candy bar business, very, very simple. Let's say you can buy a candy bar for 50 cents. And without a shadow of a doubt, you can sell it every day, all day for $1. Well, you'll make 50 cents and you'll be, how many candy bars can I buy? Let me buy as many candy bars as I can because I make 50 cents every single time. Well, let's say, and real estate is just like this. Let's say you didn't even have that 50 cents to buy the first candy bar or any candy bars, but you can borrow 50 cents and it costs you 25 cents to borrow that 50 cents to then sell it for $1. Well, you're out of pocket 75 cents. And you sell it for $1, you still make 25 cents using other people's money. Real estate's amazing. So you can buy a property using other people's money and make extra money on top and make sure that it's an automatic business. So you would not buy a candy bar for $1.25 if you could only sell it for $1. You'd lose 25 cents every single time you'd sell a candy bar. Why would you do that? Same thing with real estate investing. In fact, those gurus, what they'll do is they'll tell you, don't even worry about making passive income because you're going to get appreciation. You're going to get tax benefits. You're going to get, trust me. Cash flow is number one. It's pinnacle. It's the top. Everything else is gravy. Like appreciation is great, but I'm not going to sell these properties. I have 4 kids. I will literally give these properties to my kids. And I make money every single month in passive income and it goes up over time. Okay, here is easy. And like I said, this is very simple. It's not hard. It's not necessarily easy to do. It's just simple. Income minus expenses equals your profit. That is your, go back. I thought I had another slide. So your rent minus your expenses equals your profit. You figure out, your property manager will tell you how much you can rent a property for. Let's say you can rent it for $1,000 and you know your expenses. You calculate your mortgage, taxes, insurance, property manager. You calculate all that and it gets up to $750. Well, the difference is $250 a month in passive income. Check. We can move on because we can buy the property. So that's how we do it. We do not get in the business to lose money every month. We get in the business to make money. Like you would not start a candy bar business, lose money every single month, but you say, oh, my business is going to be worth more in 10 years. It doesn't matter. You're not going to do that. You're going to make money every month. Now, secret number 5, create creative financing using other people's money. Just like I said with a candy bar analogy, if you're going to buy a candy bar and you don't have that money, you would use other people's money in order to do it. Now, I'm going to give you creative financing. Let's say you have very little money, but hopefully with your 401k, you're going to utilize Quest Trust and actively use your 401k, which I show all my students how to actively do this well, utilizing Quest Trust, utilizing a 401k, put the money back in for retirement. It's phenomenal, all terrific. So here's some creative financing options. So all cash. You maybe even delayed financing, like you pay all cash and then you pull money out after it's fixed up, three weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, pull all your money back out, all the cash back out, buy another property, do all over again. These are so many things we can go through. Your home equity line of credit on your personal residence, which I've done many times, seller financing, utilizing hard money, like finding an institution, not a bank, but somebody else that wants to lend their money. Subject to properties where you're assuming existing mortgages on the seller. Maybe they lost their job and they just need to get out. You can take that and take their mortgage and pay their mortgage for them. Private money loans, friends and family members, commercial loans, portfolio loans, blanket loans, signature loans, credit card, doing a cash advance, which it's an advanced strategy. Trust me, it's an advanced strategy. I've done it. I've literally taken out credit card advances, bought my property, refinance, pull the cash out, paid off that credit card, just like a candy bar. If you can borrow the money, however you're going to do it, because you know it's a business, you're going to make money, all those expenses accounted for, it's going to work. And I teach my students how to do all that stuff. This is a big, broad overview, but all these ways, and there's so many more. In fact, I've done kind of 15 different ways of getting financing. Okay, secret number 6, automate with systems, procedures, and processes. Remember, we get the right people. We make sure we're making passive income every single month. We automate everything with systems and procedures and processes. Now, I tell my property managers, property manager, here are my properties. You're going to manage them. I don't care how you manage other investors' properties, other landlords. Like you might manage them whatever way it is. This is how I want you to manage my properties. Do not deviate because this is my business. Your property manager knows that you are their customer. The tenant is not their customer. You are their customer. So we automate and we give them the systems and procedures and processes. Let me give you a quick, just one of many, many systems, procedures, and processes. And this is literally verbatim exactly what I tell my property managers to do. And it is the least discriminatory ever because I follow this for every single property. There's no leniency. In fact, I'll go through it, and I got a couple more things to say about it. So rent's due on the 1st. It's late after the 3rd, and then we have a late fee after the 3rd. Then on the 4th, we give a 3-day notice, and obviously the late fee. And then after that 3-day notice is up, we start the eviction process. Now, your states, wherever you're investing, is going to have different ones. You just have to follow those laws. But your property manager, they know those laws, so follow them, follow their lead on that. But I do this for every single property, just like if you buy a house and you're living in. If you have a mortgage on your house, let's say you call up your mortgage company. Hey, mortgage company, Bank of America, mortgage company, my son got arrested and I had to use our mortgage payment to bail him out of jail. Can I not pay my mortgage this month? They're going to say, no, you have to pay your mortgage, and we're going to start the foreclosure process if you don't pay your mortgage. I kid you not, you're going to get this from tenants. Hey, this happened. Can I not pay my rent? This happened. I had to learn the hard way. I was so lenient for years, and I realized I'm just getting taken advantage of. And I want to be as non-discriminatory as possible. Everybody's treated the exact same. This is the type of things that I'm talking about. Giving our property managers, our contractors, our inspectors, like the systems, the procedures, and processes, so they run our business the way we want it to be ran, so we make money every single month. Now, there's so much more to go through, and I'm literally just scratching the surface of how to do all this sort of stuff. Now, I do have a free course I would love to give you guys. If you go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course, and Colin, if you wouldn't mind typing there in the chat so it's easy for everybody to maybe just click on the button, but masterpassiveincome.com/free course. It will give you like 10 times as much. It'll literally walk you through how to find an area of the country to invest, how to build the business, like how the right people to find, questions to ask, all that sort of stuff, how to build the business, making sure that it's expertly ran and automatic, making $250 a month, how to scale your business so that you can quit your job, get financial independence, travel the world, do whatever you want. But if you go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course. And so that is absolutely, like, I have so many people invest just from this. Same thing with like my podcast, the Master Passive Income Podcast, my YouTube channel. It's me just giving all this information out because I found the more people in my life that I serve, that I help get what they want, the better my life gets and the better everybody else's life gets. So there's so many more things to go over. Get that free course. But I know you guys have questions right now, even like, how do we use our 401k to do this? So I want to open this up to questions. So let's see. Colin, you want to come back on and help me with some of these questions? Sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm muted. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was just saying that I went ahead and put that link in the comments, guys, so y'all should be able to see and view that there. But yeah, let's start going into some questions. So I think Megan has this first one here on screen for us. Why do you have rental properties in Texas and Ohio? What is your target market?
Oh, well, why? Number one. So I live in Arizona currently. I've been here 7 years now. Started when I investing in 2006, living in California. Prices were so crazy high. Rents were so low. I couldn't make money in passive income. So I started by looking out of my state. I was like, well, I got to figure it out somewhere. So I went to Ohio and found prices were relatively low. Like I was buying houses for, $30,000 and $40,000 and making $250 a month in passive income. Now those homes are worth, I don't know, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, which is great. So started getting cash flow there in Ohio because prices were lower, rents were higher. Same thing with Texas, Missouri. Like Midwest is fantastic right now. A lot of people might be thinking, oh my goodness, Dustin, like all these prices are so high. Yes, they're high, but we're investors. We don't buy them as high as everybody else is. So the reason why I invest in Ohio, Texas, and other states in the Midwest, I make more money in passive income. Number one, I build the business so I don't have to worry about it. Number two, or that's number two. Number three is I actively do not do anything in my business because I've already built it and it runs itself. Now, what areas, like the cities, I invest in Houston and Cleveland, Houston, Texas, Cleveland, Ohio, Akron, Ohio. Those are like in Ohio and Texas. Those are the main ones, the markets that I invest in personally.
Awesome. Next question here. Do you have a backup for something like property managers or contractors, any kind of vendors that you're using?
Yeah, I said that a little bit in the presentation. I want to make sure. Well, I'll say at the start of this, I found one property manager, my very first property I bought. I found one property manager and did it wrong. My property manager started stealing from me within 6 months. It was horrible, and I didn't have a backup. So I learned my lesson. So I had to really quickly scramble to find backups for all the other people that I've been working with. And so, yes, we build an entire, I guess, list of other. Let's say, I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you're finding property managers, and you make a list of, let's say, 6, 10, 100, however many property managers you're talking to. Keep notes on all those property managers, what you talk to them about, what you like about them, all that sort of stuff. And then what I do every time I talk to them, as I'm interviewing, remember, hire slow and fire fast, I rank them in order. Like number one, hey, this guy's great, or this company's great, or whatever it might be, and I rank them in order. And then eventually, after all these interviews, I have a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, keep going down the list after ranking. Well, I go with number 1. But let's say number 1 falls off the face of the earth. Well, I got number 2, number 3, and all that sort of stuff. So yes, absolutely have redundancy in all my businesses.
Okay. Do you like to use multiple property managers? Like say, for instance, in one area, will you have multiple property managers? That way you do have those business relationships set up so that, if you're in a current, property manager falls through, you already got that relationship with somebody else to come in and help out.
Absolutely. So I personally have one property manager and many backups, but I work with one property manager per city that I invest in. And I count each city I invest in as new business because let's say it's Houston versus Cleveland. Totally far away. It's not the same business. It has to be completely separate and everything. Anyways, yes, I make sure that I have one property manager, but have backups. I have some students, it really comes down to your risk tolerance. My risk tolerance, I don't mind having that set up because it's worked out very well for me. But I do have some students that say, Dustin, I really want to have, like I have, since working with you, I bought, 5 properties. And now with this one property manager, I would like these next properties be with another property manager. I'm like, that's great. Go right ahead. There's no worries about doing that because you have redundancy already built in. If one starts falling off, you're already working with them, bring them over.
Okay. All right, Megan, you can go ahead and put that question back up now.
I think I saw one about assumable loan. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah. So with the subject to for FHA assumable loans. So honestly, assumable loans, there aren't any more. Like in fact, mortgage companies do not say you can't, like they actually check it. So you cannot assume the loan. So I'll blanket say that mortgage companies, they've learned we want them to get in new financing. So we're not going to let them assume it. But here's the catch. As long as the mortgage is being paid, banks don't really care. So what you do is you keep, there's so much to learn. So I'm giving you a big, broad overview, and you're going to have to, when you're working with a seller, let's say the seller's having issues with their mortgage, and you're going to take it over subject to the financing. Well, you put it in your name, and you pay the mortgage for them, and it's paying in their name. The mortgage is still in their name. You're paying it automatically every single time. And with that, you eventually refinance. There's a whole lot to learn. I'm just scratching the surface. But most mortgages are not assumable, but you pay it for them. And I have never seen a bank personally, like literally come and take. In fact, before we buy the property, we called the bank. Hey, bank, they're having trouble. I'm going to take over making the payments. They never say, no, you can't do that. What they want is the money. So all that to say, that's a whole big, long thing to learn about. But yes, you take over making payments, keep it in their name, put the property in their name, eventually you refinance it, pay off that mortgage.
Great. Okay. And now that other question, yes, from Jeremy. Okay, Dustin. So since you have property management companies in different states, different properties, right? Are you setting the standards for their service, or do they? And if so, or I guess rather, if not, what are your core expectations or guidelines?
Yeah, I like that question, actually. So I'm going to give you an answer that is going to be a big broad, and then it'll absolutely apply to this and many more. So everything in this business, actually, I'll take that. Everything in every business. Actually, I think everything in life is negotiable. We live in America where you see a sticker on a price tag. That's how much we pay. No. You go buy a car and you should haggle. And so just in our culture here in America, everybody thinks you go to Walmart, that's exactly what you pay. Well, what if you negotiate? Well, in real estate investing, everything is negotiable. Purchase price. Yeah, easily. You negotiate that down. Title company fees, negotiate that down. Talking to a seller and the seller wants X, Y, and Z. Well, you negotiate with them. Same thing with property managers. Let's say the property manager, and yes, every single city that I invest in, every business that I built, I make sure that the property manager can't fit my business. I don't fit me around that property manager. I won't work with them if they can't work with me. So I negotiate with the property manager like, hey, property manager, this fee you're asking 10%, can you come down to 8? Well, if they say no, I have to be okay with going with the 10 that they want, or go with somebody else. Same thing with how they run the business. Let's say they do not they don't want to follow one criteria that I have. Well, it's up to me to say it's okay, let me continue to move. Like, I can look past them not doing this, or you say, okay, you're not a right fit for me, move on to somebody else. So I guess to sum up, negotiate everything 100% with your property managers. Literally, I strike out, like line item out. I don't like this, and I'll cross it out. Are you okay with that? If they say no, then you move on, or you accept whatever they want. But yeah, negotiate everything.
Yeah, and typically most property management companies, there's always room for haggling back and forth as far as services and price. So yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Okay, we do have a couple more questions here. From Robin, do you put each property in a separate LLC?
Yeah. So I'm going to give you an answer as an investor, as a real estate investor. Now you're going to hit other people. The gurus will tell you, oh yeah, put one property. This is how you do it. If you're an investor, you look at it as value in each LLC. Now, what is the LLC for? Protects you from liability, keep everything separate. Now, what you might be thinking, oh, put a property in there, or however many properties. Let's say I put 5 properties in one LLC. Well, I don't put the number of properties. I put the dollar value total that I'm willing to risk in an LLC. It could be, let's say, your minimum or your maximum value that you're willing to risk if you got sued is $400,000. Well, you put as many properties that adds up to $400,000. Let's say you're buying, $150,000 homes, which, yes, there are homes that are still selling for $150,000, even $100,000. Well, it'll take, if it's $100,000 and the max you're willing to risk is $400,000, you put 4 properties in there, because the total value that they go after, you're okay with them going after all those properties. So my suggestion is, don't think about how many properties, 1, 10, whatever. Think about the value that those properties have and how much you're willing to risk if somebody were to sue you. So I personally have, 10 plus LLCs. I have 30 plus properties now, hotels and apartments and stuff like that. So you grow as the business grows. So definitely start with one LLC, fill it up to what you feel comfortable, then build another one.
Great. I think one more question here, maybe a couple more. What are your thoughts on seller financing some or all of your inventory instead of renting? It's a great question, Lisa.
Oh, so instead of, I think if I understand the question, instead of me renting out my properties, instead doing seller financing. So
seller finance to the tenants. Yeah, that's my
understanding. No, here's one thing is, I like it. Yes. If I am willing and okay with not owning the property, or if I want to get out of the property in 10 years. In fact, I do have some that are seller financing or land contract, it could be called, or rent to own type properties. But these are properties I do not want to own in 10 years. But there are many properties that I will literally want to own for forever and give them to my kids. So yes, I like it. Thank you. I see, Lisa, you said correct. That's what you're meaning. So I like to make sure that if I'm going to do the seller financing, I'm okay to give up this property. And it's cost benefit analysis, opportunity cost, all that stuff. Like, is it going to work out well for me and my goals? And so, yes, it's fantastic. I have a couple of properties that are rent to own, and they work out great. My tenants are so happy. They would never be able to buy a house, but because I'm blessing them with this, it helps me helps them so much to be able to own a house. And then at the same time, I'm out of property, moving on to the next one.
Wonderful. Yes, and Lisa says thank you. Okay, and yeah, Max, we're not skipping your question, I promise. I am going to come back to that one here in a little bit, but this one, before we go into a little bit more about the self-directed side, do you prefer working with VAs out of the country or in the country?
Oh, well, so for my real estate investing, I don't really use VAs. Now, for my online business, I use VAs. So that's why I'm kind of answering in two different business models. Real estate investing, it has to be local when the business is running. Now, I have had students use VAs in the country, out of the country. It doesn't really matter personally. A lot of them out of the country because it's cheaper. You know, Philippines, they speak English very, very well, and they're really good at business. But anyways, utilize a property manager, or sorry, a VA to analyze properties because it's really a criteria. In fact, if you like, my minimum is $250 a month in passive income, making sure I'm capturing 10, 20% in equity, all that sort of stuff, like these criteria. Well, it's just a formula. In fact, I created a spreadsheet. I call it the 1 minute green light deal analyzer. It's actually, I sell it on my site. I actually give it away to my students, but it's what I created for my business when I utilize VAs to analyze properties. I'm like, I don't want to keep analyzing properties because it takes forever. Why don't I just hire somebody from the Philippines? Because I have hired people in the Philippines, you know, pay them, let's say $5-8 an hour, which is great wage for them, but they analyze all the properties and they just give me a spreadsheet. Here are the properties I analyze. So that's number one. For actively running my business, I do not hire VAs personally. You can, but I hire the experts there. Now, in my online business, I personally prefer, well, no, it's a hard way to say it. I'm really frugal, so I try to save money. So I usually look outside, like the Philippines are terrific. But I also, for certain jobs, like my conference, the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, I have virtual assistants that are in the States because it's a business. It's an in-person business. We need to be there, all that sort of stuff. So you have to figure out what's best for you in your business, John.
Perfect. Great question. One other one that Lisa had here was, do you have any courses that go over seller financing?
Oh, totally. So I have 5 courses, and I have a membership. I have one-on-one coaching and all that sort of stuff. But one of my courses, which is the main flagship course, like the master class, we have tons of information. It shows you from the very beginning, if you don't even know how to run a business, start a business, anything, to investing and having a successfully running business. I have that course inside there, whole bunch on seller financing, how to get seller financing, how to get them to sell to you, how to do all that sort of stuff. So yes, we absolutely cover all that.
Perfect. And then one more question here. Where's that deal analyzer spreadsheet that you mentioned?
Oh yeah, so if you go on my site, and I could probably pull it up real quick, but if you go on my site, if you look at the very top, so go to I should probably tell you the site, masterpassiveincome.com. And if you go to masterpassiveincome.com and you scroll down to the bottom, I don't know if you want to share, but just scroll down a little bit to the bottom, you'll see the 1 minute green light deal analyzer. So masterpassiveincome.com, and then scroll down on the homepage. It's probably 3/4 of the way down, a little past half. You'll see that there. I mean, I try to pack as much value in there as possible. In fact, it's like I sell everything for like $450, but I'll give it to you for $27. I just want to give this much as way as possible. So that's where you'll find it.
Perfect. And I did include that. That may have been, I guess that's the same website we put in there before without the specific link. But yeah, masterpassiveincome.com, guys. So now I do want to take a little bit of time to go ahead and talk more on the self-directed side. And then, if y'all do have more questions for me, for Dustin, please put them in there. We may have time for a couple more after this. But this is a QR code that you can scan, taking you to a link to schedule a completely free consultation with myself, one of the other IRA specialists at Quest. That way we can kind of, discuss alternative investing, real estate investments, how to use your retirement savings to invest potentially a little bit more passively, a little more alternatively. Everybody's looking for different options, right? especially with, the way that we've seen the public stock market act over the past year or two. So that is kind of where we step in. You're able to, and not a lot of people know this, but you're able to use, money in your 401k, other IRAs, regardless of what the account is, 403b, TSP, TRS. I mean, there's so many different plan types out there. That as long as it is a qualified retirement plan, you can use those funds to invest tax-free. So I do want to bring up Max's question here. So just a little bit briefly about the process. It's fairly simple to go through. You'll have to establish an IRA, a self-directed IRA with Quest, and then we'll help you in moving your funds over regardless of where it's at, right? So specifically for a 401k or some type of employer-sponsored plan, you'll have to initiate that with your 401k custodian. If it's IRAs that you're transferring over as opposed to rolling over from a 401k, a direct IRA to IRA transfer can be initiated between the custodians, so we'll be able to handle most of that. So the process is fairly different based on, how you're moving funds or where they're coming from. And then as far as the type of IRA, whenever you're investing within an IRA account, because it is naturally a tax deferred or non-taxable entity, you're able to make investments within there similar to if you purchase stock in Apple. The appreciation, or if they're paying you dividends, depending on your stock type, comes back into the account completely tax deferred or even tax free, which is kind of what Max is getting at there with the Roth IRA. So there are different advantages. I would say to assess more what's going to be the best fit for you individually, maybe give us a call or email us, and I'll include my information down in the chat as well. But that's a little bit about how to use a self-directed IRA. I also want to share some other information that we have going on at the company right now. This is a reward that we're currently running. We actually just extended it through July. We planned on ending it after June, but this is going to run through the end of July. Rewards for deposits. So if you're moving over funds to start making some investments, there are some potential credits that may be able to cover the first year fees or something like that. And certainly we can talk more about fees if you guys do have any interest. But that's something that's available to you. Another thing, I know there were some people that were local to Texas in here, is if you are interested in learning more, networking with like-minded real estate investors, meeting vendors, meeting property managers, we are hosting a what we call a luau. Luau link up. It's one of our socials. We do a social every month in Austin, Houston, and Dallas. This one is very specific because we're not bringing in anybody to speak. It's going to be strictly networking. So we'll have food, drinks. If you guys are interested in something like that, you can. I think Megan's going to share a link below. Yes, she shared this link. You can go on our website and register or scan that QR code, and we look forward to having you guys. The Elite Multifamily Summit is actually another event that we're hosting in Dallas. That's going to be later in August. This is a day-long event where we're talking specifically about multifamily real estate investing, right? Apartment complexes, condos, anything like that. So if you do have some interest, again, there's more information on our website. You can check that out there. But that is about all I have. Let's see if there are any final questions. We have a couple more minutes, and let's see. I'm also going to include my information in the chat here. So Lisa asked, my current 401k custodian doesn't allow moving it to Quest. Do you advise taking a loan to start the self-directed IRA? So that's kind of tricky. And I mean, we're not necessarily tax advisors or investment advisors at Quest, so I couldn't, tell you to do that. And I wouldn't say one way or the other whether that would be a good idea. I mean, it really does depend on your circumstance, your situation, right? Sometimes that's where maybe a CPA or a financial advisor could let you know, if that is a good idea. Some other kind of professional who's licensed to talk about that kind of stuff. I guess potentially there's always ways that you can just start a self-directed IRA by making contributions, though, build the account up that way. Lisa, for different options, I would say give us a call and we can certainly discuss that. Doris said she missed the rewards here. I'll put that back up briefly. This information is on our website as well. You can go back and look at it there. I believe it's on the homepage. If you just search up questtrustcompany.com, you can see it. Perfect. So I guess last thing that I wanted to mention too was we do offer a lot of education. So you'll probably see like on our events page, we do something like this. We'll bring in experts like Dustin, other individuals to come in and speak to you guys about real estate investing, all kinds of resources. We do record all of our webinars as well. So you'll be able to look at these on our YouTube channel, find links on our website as well. The recording of this should be posted within, a few minutes after we close out. But I think that's about it. And I don't see, there was one other question that come through, and Dustin, if that's all right with you, I think we've got the time for this one. Okay. Are there other expenses you factor into your expenses other than the obvious mortgage, interest, property management? I guess that commonly come up.
Oh yeah, totally. And so there are plenty of them that we need to make sure we're always accounted for. And what the great thing about these expenses, most of them are fixed or relatively fixed. Like your taxes really go up very little, mortgage goes up very little, but there are other ones that you need to account for. Vacancy factor is one that you need to make sure, which basically means how often out of the year is it actually going to be vacant, because that's less income. So you just got to worry about that. You need to make sure that you have obviously taxes, insurance as well. With that, you also want to make sure you have repairs, like how much money is going to be saved for repairs. Not just like somebody broke a toilet and you got to fix a toilet, but even capital expenses, like big things like a furnace goes out, a roof goes out. You need to you need to be able to save for that as well, is for repairs and maintenance, things like that. Vacancy factor, if you have a homeowners association. So inside the Greenlight Deal Analyzer, it literally lists out everything. So you're not going to be questioning, well, and what else could it be? No, it literally has all of them out. So you just look to see. And here is a big thing that I want you to understand. Remember, I say we hire experts. Talk to your realtors that are experts. Talk to your property managers. Talk to the contractors. Talk to them and say, what other expenses could I have? Like realtor, is there going to be a homeowners association? That's an expense I need to make sure that I have. It also, could be you're talking to your mortgage broker. Am I going to have, if I have the mortgage, if it's not 20%, do I have to do the PMI? Do I have to pay that insurance as well? So there's other expenses. It could be advertising. It could be cleaning the yard, all that sort of stuff. But like I said, in my Greenlight Deal Analyzer, literally has all of them. Just fill them in if you find them. But you utilize your experts to make sure that you know your expenses.
Perfect. And I apologize if you guys can hear my dog behind me. I am going to share my information here in the chat. Dustin, I don't know if you want to give an email or just your website is the best place for them to go.
Website's definitely the best place to go.
Okay.
Plus, you can listen to my podcast, the Master Passive Income Podcast. In fact, if you actually type in and search for real estate investing, usually I'm like number 1 or number 2 on there. It's a lot of fun just being able to help people. Find me there. You can even find me on Instagram. So the Dustin Heiner. So THE Dustin Heiner. And no, Colin, I'm not that arrogant. It's the only handle I could come up with, the Dustin Heiner. But anyways, I love getting DMs or messages on there, helping people out as well. But it's a blessing to be able to help people, and I've seen people's lives change. In fact, I have students that have quit their job or become financial independent in 2 and 3 years. It's terrific. I get more fulfilled when I help other people. Like I feel fulfilled when I bought my first property. It was great success, but then quitting my job, even better success. But I kid you not, I feel fulfilled, not just success, fulfilled when my students do it. It's just terrific to be a part of it.
It's very rewarding and fulfilling to see that impact that you can have on other people's lives. I agree with that completely. So well, Dustin, thanks so much for your time today, everybody. If you do have any more questions, feel free to reach out, check out our website, Dustin's website, plenty of great resources there. But I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your Saturday, the rest of your weekend, and happy July 4th.
Yep, happy Independence Day, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.